All right, we have Michelle Douglas in the studio, and the big news today was Matt Ecker got arrested, not just for assault, but I mean they lowered the hammer on this guy, didn't they?
Boy, they sure did, Bob. I just lost my voice. I just came from the Lower Township Municipal Utilities Authority.
Oh my gosh!
On the grievance that Jesse Matzinger had filed against Matt Ecker. So I lost my voice, I don't know, as a direct result of a heated exchange that I had.
Friday is motion day, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, I remember those days. Yeah, Friday's motion day.
Yeah, we had a big motion.
A lot of emotion, too, right?
A lot of emotion. Well, I'll tell you what. We were beginning to feel disheartened.
Right.
Because there wasn't seemingly any action being taken by anybody in authority.
Yeah.
We are truly heartened now by the actions of the prosecutor's office.
Yeah, we're not talking about the township committee. We're talking about the prosecutor's office. They took offense to what was going on.
They took it seriously, and I am really pleased that they take retaliation as seriously as we do.
I know you're not a criminal lawyer, but these two things that he got charged with, they're serious offenses, aren't they?
They are. Well, tampering with witnesses and interference with a criminal prosecution or criminal investigation.
Right.
Third degree and a fourth degree respective charges.
So the third degree was 3 to 5 years in prison.
Could hold that, yeah.
Fourth degree was 18 months in prison.
You got it.
I don't think I'd want to be in prison for a week.
I don't think I want to be Matt Ecker right now.
Did he lose his car? Is he still getting paid?
Well, as far as I know, he's still being paid, and he did not lose his car. Here's another story I want to share with you. This just demonstrates the audacity of this gentleman. The person who reported initially the alleged criminal conduct by Matt Eckert and some of the municipal utilities board. His name is Jack Porter, no secret.
Okay.
But and I don't represent him. However, he's been in contact with my office. He was terminated from employment before all of the retaliatory actions took place.
Wow.
I think that's what prompted him to go to the prosecutor's office and make the complaint of things that he had seen there, illegal dumping and things of that nature. But in any event, Matt Ecker was told, you're on suspension for 60 days. You're not to show your face in Lower Township. He lives in Mays Landing. And you're not to have any hands-on dealings with the Municipal Utilities Authority during the 60-day paid vacation.
Paid vacation, yeah.
And Jack Porter, with the car, Jack Porter called and told me that he's now filing criminal charges against Matt Ecker because Matt Ecker, in the presence of Jack Porter's employees, he's now self-employed, came up to Jack Porter while he was working. Matt Ecker grabbed his crotch and said, this.
Oh, my gosh.
Then apparently tools were missing from Jack Porter's. I have no way to substantiate this now, but I'm relaying to you the hullabaloo that's been going on down there in Lower Township. So now we've got additional criminal charges that have been filed against Matt Eckert.
This sounds pretty ugly. All right, I want to take a break because that way we can come back, we can finish off the hour and not have any obstructions. And there's probably 50 questions I want to ask you, and I know there's a bunch of things that you want to talk about. So let's just take our break right now. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Thank you.
News Talk 1400 WOND. WOND Radio.com.
Now back to Bob Burns in your afternoon on News Talk 1400 WOND.
All right, we're back. We're with Michelle Douglas from Douglas Kinnery, and that's the My Rights law firm. They do employment rights and civil rights, right?
That's right, Bob.
And we're talking about the case in Lower Cape May. You represent 5 of the members of the Lower Cape May MUA.
I do.
2 that got canned and 3 that are still there.
You got it. Yes.
One got a little roughed around a little bit.
Right. That's Jesse Matzinger, and we were actually at the Lower Township Municipal Utilities Authority this morning,
right,
on his grievance hearing, And we had asked to have the process recorded, audio recorded. So that way later on down the line, there's no mistake or miscommunication. We have a record of it. But the attorney representing the Lower Township Municipal Utilities Authority refused to allow us to record it, and he terminated the proceeding and walked away from us. So he left us hanging with the inability to complete the grievance process.
This was a union grievance process?
Well, they're not union. They're not actually union, but they do have a collective unit.
Okay.
So at first they were told, Jesse was told that he was not permitted to have an attorney there.
Right.
And I asked why that would be.
Yeah.
Well, there was no response other than, well, the process doesn't permit for that. He can have a collective unit representative, similar to a union representative there and present. So I wasn't the collective unit representative, but I immediately became the collective unit representative when the men all gathered up and signed a petition, had it stamped and signed and filed by this morning. So I showed up as the collective unit representative, but we were stonewalled. And we had some serious concerns because the attorney is associated with a local Atlantic City law firm. It was seen in photographs. We have the photographs with their arms around Matt Ecker at various fundraisers. So we question how, in fact, the law firm could really remain objective and neutral in this process.
Yeah.
But that also went unanswered. So, yeah, a lot of activity has been taking place since early this morning, 9 a.m. until now.
I spent some time on the plaintiff side of issues with an attorney, and I've watched all these defense tactics. Not just with you, and it's not uncommon, is it?
It's not. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not. Stonewalling, delay, obstruction seems to be a specialty oftentimes in these cases. And it's a shame because it's a public entity.
It accomplishes nothing, though. Ultimately, you get what you want.
To me, it invites litigation.
It does, certainly.
I'll give you an example. I have had 2 cases this week, within the past week. One with the Cape May County. I represented a woman from the Cape May County Social Services. And much to Cape May County Council's credit, they wanted to get to the heart of it right away.
Right.
They invited me. They invited my client to meet with them at their office. We did. We had a nice exchange, and my client was reinstated to employment without litigation, without having cost the county a dime, because this attorney, the Cape May County Council, took the time, took the effort to complete a proper investigation.
Yeah.
But that's the rarity. That's not the
I know
norm.
that's a rarity, but it always seemed. I know that eventually, even with all the stonewalling and all the stuff they did, you eventually got to exactly where you wanted to be, and it was like 3 months later.
Yeah, I agree with you. But however, it does take some tenacity. It takes quite a bit of tenacity, and what I have found, unfortunately, through my years of practice and experience, is that the defense typically has more resources than the plaintiffs.
Well, they have kids to put through college also.
Right, and I've put quite a few lawyers' kids through college.
That's what we used to always say. Yeah, he had kids to put through college. That's why he's doing this.
I kid around with one big law firm in Atlantic City. I say, I put that other wing on your building. Thanks to me, that new wing came as a result of our litigation.
Well, this must strengthen your case at least some, right, with him being arrested.
Yeah, I would think tremendously. I mean, it shows, it illuminates what has been happening with these respective plaintiffs, that in fact the retaliation was real. It wasn't made up. It was so real that Matt Eckert is in trouble criminally for it.
Right.
Of course, the plaintiffs have civil remedies as well, and it's a bright light now for at least 2 of the individuals who have lost their jobs and have been out of work without an income, without health benefits. So at least they have a light at the end of a shorter tunnel.
You think there's a possibility they may be reinstated?
I would hope so, because my thought is that anything that Matt Ecker did with respect to these individuals would surely be cast with some heavy suspicion that his motivations were not genuine, that they were in fact retaliatory because they had reported the criminal activity to the prosecutor's office.
So the criminal activity was the awarding of contracts, is that correct?
Well, in part. As I said, I really don't want to jeopardize what still is an ongoing criminal investigation. While Matt Ecker has been charged with criminal violations, those violations are not associated as of yet with the substantive criminal investigation. Okay. So he's been charged with tampering with witnesses and interfering with a criminal investigation. So I don't want to add to that. Yeah. I don't want to interfere with that criminal investigation. But I do know, and it is a part of the record, that some of those allegations do involve illegal contracts.
So the people that you represent, the 5 people that you represent, 2 who were laid off and 3 who are still there,
yes,
they were questioned by the prosecutor's office.
More than once, yes.
More than once.
Yes.
And this was retaliation to them for being questioned.
It was.
Wow.
Yeah. And apparently the prosecutor's office found that to be the case as well.
Uh-huh.
They were quite concerned that after every time the Cape May County Prosecutor's Office spoke to these individuals, something happened.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Well, they're fortunate they found you. And this is what you do for a living. You're an attorney, and this is what you do for a living.
This is what I do for a living. We don't often stage protests, but I thought that this was the best way to get this to the public, to really bring it out to the public eye, is to stage these protests. Let the public know what is happening so that it shines a light on what's been going on down there.
And the cockroaches scurry.
Well, I don't know. They didn't scurry quick enough, but they got out of the way a little bit.
Yes. Thought they were invincible.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming up to the end of the hour. Just want to make sure people know it's 1601 Tilton Road. It's suite number 6. And the phone number is 788-3595, right?
It is, yes.
That's 609 area code.
609 area code.
I have this little email that Kim sent.
Oh, good job,
so
Kim.
I have all the information here, so I didn't have to write it down. I didn't have to question it. And it's Douglas Kinnery is the law firm.
It is, yes.
Michelle, I appreciate you coming. Kim, thanks for showing up. Hope your son's doing well.
Thank you.
And we're going to be back in just a couple minutes.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, we got a minute to go. I'm sorry. I do that to her every once in a while. We have a minute to go. Yeah, I'm sorry. We have a minute to go. So, all right. Well, we're just going to follow up with what's going to happen with Matt Ecker, and he's released on his own recognizance, and it's got to help your case a little bit.
Yeah, I would think it would help our case a little bit. I did hear, however, that Matt Ecker will be